frequently, the board of directors actively fabricate numbers in their spreadsheet and
They have a spreadsheet? A Habbo Hotel Corporation treasury spreadsheet of their coins to in-game dollars. And they also have an accountant cooking the books. Habbo Hotel was the best place to do a little trolling. That's a classic. Pool's closed and all that. So good. Like, I don't even know what the actual game was. I just remember going on there to fuck with people. And I feel like that's what everyone did. I don't think there was a game there.
Habbo Hotel is a self-described virtual community for teens. At its peak in 2012, it had customers from 150 different countries, had 273 million registered users, and saw 5 million unique visitors every month. Habbo was essentially Club Penguin for teenagers. You could visit places, chat to people, play games, and make your own rooms.
You could play games in here?
There is one thing that dominates all aspects of Habbo life. Coins. Coins could buy you the latest furniture, the nicest clothing, and Habbo Club, a form of premium membership to distinguish you from the peasants. The issue with coins is that they can't be obtained through normal gameplay. You have to buy them with real-life money. This means that coins have actual monetary value, and some players have sold their virtual currency for thousands of dollars. With the prospect to make actual real-life money, Habbo turned from a glorified chat room to a terrifying experiment of anarcho-capitalism done on teenagers and adolescent children.
I didn't remember that.
Anarcho-capitalist societies can generally be characterized by 3 main points, and Habbo ticks all of the boxes. 1. Anarcho-capitalist societies are anarchies, which means that there is no central government control. In 2012, Habbo employed 225 moderators worldwide. Now, there are 0 moderators. All of them have been replaced by artificial intelligence, which only serves to censor bad words. The lack of any real moderation has led to the proliferation of scams and illegal casinos throughout the hotel.
Real casinos?
The second characteristic of an
Maybe they'll sponsor Steve, we'll do it next.
Capitalism, which by
Aiden Roscoe's on stream. Hey guys, you heard of Habbo Hotel gambling?
Is controlled by private owners for profit rather than the state. Habbo is defined by capitalism. Coins will never be given out by Habbo unless they are purchased. Trading is a key aspect within the game, and it isn't regulated or moderated. And finally, the last characteristic of anarcho-capitalist societies is that they are a
mecca for pedophiles.
Was there a big pedophile problem on Habbo Hotels?
These two conditions have led Habbo to turn into an emulation of a free market capitalistic and materialistic society. Their adolescent and teenage players end up turning into ruthless capitalists in order to survive. New players who join Habbo Hotel start off with 0 coins. The only way for players to get coins are to either pay for them or to get them from someone else. Giveaways are the breadlines of Habbo. In the absence of government, the privatized welfare state steps in. Giveaways are events where rich Habbos donate furniture and coins to peasants in need. You may be tempted to think that this charity is altruism at work. It isn't. This is an example of a giveaway. You may be confused as to why
join my free gift card
giveaway like the ones found in theme parks. This isn't unusual. When there is no regulation or moderation,
I like that this guy's
grooving whatever they want as giveaways.
That's a classic.
In reality, this is a for-profit game. In order to win coins, you first need to roll a 6 in the dice. Next, you need to teleport to one of these green areas, which you have a 33.3% chance of doing.
Pretty good.
Finally, you need to pull a switch, which, assuming is not rigged, has a 50% chance of failure. Assuming you do all of that, you win the grand prize of 1 coin. Now, you could risk it, Pull the second switch, which, assuming is not rigged, has another 50% chance of failure. That would bag you the grand prize of 2 coins. Crunching the numbers, you only have a 78% chance of winning 1 coin. The chance of winning the jackpot of 50 coins, that's a 0.022% chance.
I like those
now
odds.
Remember that I mentioned FastPass
We
earlier.
win those.
In these types of quote-unquote giveaways, the owner usually sells a FastPass, which allows you to skip the long peasant queue and gives you slightly more favourable odds. But like a casino, these odds are stacked against you, and chances are you will not make your money back. And once the owner sells the FastPasses for the day, they shut down the giveaway. And they open a new one, under a new name, where you have to buy a new FastPass. No refunds given. But those aren't the only types of giveaways. There are other forms, such as radio giveaways, where players are forced to listen to a radio operated by a fan site.
Hello everyone, this is DJ Danny, and this is HabboQuest.com.
What the fuck is this?
20 more minutes of my show left.
Alright.
Quest line, just really fast.
Classic. Yeah.
No request, and...
Oh, come on now. Someone request from Danny.
If you guys can hit that heart button, I will appreciate it so much.
Let's heart that shit. We're live.
The DJ periodically tells the viewers the special keyword that is required before you can collect your duck or whatever the DJ feels like giving to you. This, of course, boosts traffic for the fan site, so they're earning money too. Real life money, that is. Then there are Levers giveaways. Levers giveaways are run by rich Habbos who are no longer interested in the game. These type of giveaways usually attract the most attention, and these Habbos could be extremely generous. Or they could be trolls. In the absence of moderation, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, like who are you gonna call? The Better Business Bureau for Habbo hotel scams? What are you gonna do, nerd?
Dominate every
Pool is
of
closed.
Habbo hotel. They have a special name. Agencies. In return for working in their corporation, you get paid coins. The amount each agency pays differs depending on pay policy, and like corporations in real life, agencies have tried to attract players in many ways.
I don't wanna get DMCA'd from fucking Habbo Hotel. Jesus Christ. I didn't know about any of this shit. I just go into a lobby and say like, hey guys, fuck you.
Welcome to the United Nations, the most innovative agency in Habbo Hotel.
We do things differently, starting with getting great pay and rank rewards for work.
But the modus operandi of all agencies are the same.
People
get paid to recruit others, so let's run it down. First, a new player like you heads up to the front desk to apply for a job. You are given a nice shiny badge, a new motto which displays your rank within the agency, and a hideous uniform. You're then ushered into a training room where your training begins. You're taught to obey commands given to you by higher ranks. Disobedience will not be tolerated and you will be fired for doing so. You are then given a set of rules, like wear your uniform, no coloured chat.
Wait, let me check out these rules real quick. God damn it. Any form of harassment, bullying, or abuse will not be tolerated. Effects are prohibited other than when permitted by the Foundation. Dancing is only permitted in the VIP area of the base. Colored chat is prohibited until you reach 5 IC. Do not ask for pay, promotion, or other benefits. What the fuck am I working there for? Wait, don't ask for pay? What the fuck am I doing working here at the goddamn Men in Black Society? What? What do you mean? Do not double job or self-promote. And always be respectful to yourself and others. What is it? Rule 4? The fuck?
Chat, and never ask for pay or promotions ever. There are no workers' rights in Habbo. There are no trade unions in Habbo.
Yeah, no
there
unions.
There is no safety net or employment protection in Habbo. You are told to comply or be sacked. After that, you are taught how to hire new people and work in the front desk. Help others begin their career in the same way someone started yours.
Why? I can't believe this shit existed. Imagine coming home after a hard day of school and then going to your Habbo hotel job working the front desk at a fucking pyramid scheme recruitment facility. How is this popular? This is mind-blowing to me. I had no clue. I thought the only thing people used Habbo for was the same shit me and my friends did. We go on there, we go in like one of their like open lobbies, we'll dance and say, "Fuck you, idiots," as our characters grooving. Like, that's it, you know? I didn't know it went deeper than that.
After that indoctrination session, you are told to begin to recruit new people. As you start pouring hours into working, you begin to be promoted into higher ranks. Higher ranks give you privileges, like working in easier jobs like security or training, or the privilege to stop wearing that hideous uniform, or to be able to use coloured chat. This system of promotions end up cementing your loyalty to the agency and make you spend even more hours in it. Wages can be meagre. Agencies usually advertise that they pay £6.
Do we have any retired Habbo workers?
But in reality, the peasants only get paid 1 coin an hour, and pay is only given at certain designated pay times. After getting paid, you're told to continue working and are threatened to get pay banned if you don't follow their pay policy. With such low wages, people begin to work in agencies for hours to even get enough coins for some decent furniture for their rooms. Habbo no longer becomes a game. Instead, it becomes a medium for your daily commute to work in an agency that pays you little and demands your obedience.
You play a game where you're just an abused worker.
1 coin an hour may seem little, but if you're the owner of an agency, having an agency staffed by dozens of workers on minimum wage can still be taxing. So how do agencies make money? The answer lies in power. The obedience demanded by corporations on its workers are no accident. People enjoy telling others what to do. Agencies run on a very simple hierarchical structure where the owners boss around the directors, who boss around the managers, who boss around the peasants. Rich Habbos are willing to pay thousands of coins in order to become high-ranking so they can tell the peasants what to do.
So you get to buy your position? Hold on, I want to see the going rates here. So it's not so different after all, eh? This looks like some kind of cult organization here, like a nefarious, evil organization. Like, this logo does not inspire confidence. It immediately makes me think of, like, war crimes. So for an agent rep, which seems to be the lowest on the totem pole here, 3,100 coins. That seems like a lot. Okay, let me look up how much a pack of coins was on Habbo Hotel. Let's see what the coin prices were. For $64, you get 7 coins. No fucking way that's right. What? I must be looking at that wrong. Hold on, that's definitely not reliable. Hold on. I just want to see what, like, the bundle price is. Because that's where the coins came from. You buy them. Like, with real money. I don't see it. Why am I having such a hard time finding this? Is that right in the chat? 45 coins for $5? Oh, Habbo's website is still up. Oh, I can just check here. Oh, this is just club membership. Where's coins? Oh, here we go, here we go. You get 20 credits, which is their coins, for $3. So 630 credits, which is their highest offer, is $75. So $75 for 630, and the lowest position here is 3,100. That's a lot. That's pretty significant. Holy shit. No, it's 3,100, not 31,000. You're misreading it. It's 3,100 coin. So then the top position of 4,500 coin. I'll just do the math. Jesus Christ. I think it's $675 for the first tier. Let me see. Do some basic math here. Yeah. So I was wrong. So hold on, let me do all of it. Okay. $375 for the lowest tier, and the highest tier is about 500-ish. So you pay $500 to be a BOE assistant leader, and $375 to be on the lowest end. That's a lot. That's a fucking lot. Thanks to the Prime Icy and the resub White Wolf, and they give sub Yoshi. It was are you a survivor of the Habbo agencies? It was structured like a military, and there were pages and pages of guidelines which we had to follow. My God. Well, you're lucky you had the privilege of working here at what is this, Axel or AL?
To pay thousands of coins in order to become high-ranking officials so they can tell the peasants what to do. Power sells, and the agencies know this. And side note, notice how there are two sets of uniforms in this agency. One looks decent, and the other looks like a school PE kit. This is because Habbo's premium membership Habbo Club is needed to wear certain items of clothing. Clothing that doesn't make you look like a complete hobo. Habbo doesn't
that was like the shit they wear in the Squid Game
within its users. It promotes it. Gambling used to be legal in Habbo. Casinos were a commonplace feature of the game. Pre-2014, the Habbo economy flourished. Rare items were being traded at high prices, which were used to decorate
Paradise. Let's go.
The Danish Ministry of Taxation caught on and told Habbo to stop letting minors spend real-life money on coins to gamble them away, because child gambling is illegal. This prompted Habbo
It's not illegal anymore, baby!
But shut down Habbo's largest
We love that shit now.
Their owners. This single event has been attributed to Habbo's decline. The gambling ban led to the crashing of the stock market. Values of rare items plummeted as they turned out to be pretty much useless for anything other than decorating casinos, and this hit Habbo hard. Revenues from coin sales dropped, and Habbo ended up having to lay off their staff, leading to anarchy. But with the sacking of moderators, the underground casinos rose. People began to gamble the same way they did back in 2014. But with the gambling ban, Habbo instituted certain restrictions. You could no longer place more than 3 dice in a room. So people came up with ingenious solutions to overcome this ban. In the past, people played blackjack and poker with a set of 5 dice, but it's possible to adapt the game so it only requires 3. Furthermore, you can set it so that the room only has 3 dice, and that the dealers of the casino would simply share the dice around. Another solution people came up with was Wired. Wired furniture was the redstone of Habbo. Wired took an input, and if certain conditions were met, gave an output. This allowed players to program things in their room and make impressive
The Green Bay Packers gambling in here?
Games. People used Wired to make random number generators which acted as dice. These pseudo-dice allowed casino owners to circumvent the dice ban. However, the issue with Wired is that only the owner of the room and those with special permissions granted by the owner could view its contents. It is possible to rig anything that involves Wired. There have been countless stories of opportunistic casino owners rigging their pseudo-dice in their favour. Habbo's casino ban inadvertently led to the explosion of con games and scams. Casinos are still by far
fucking
the
obviously it would.
venture of Habbo Hotel, but not necessarily the way you think it is. Sometimes the admins of Habbo log in. In the absence of moderators, casinos operate in broad daylight, but periodically casinos have been shut down by these admins and got their owners banned. So owning a casino is still a risky venture that few dare risk. Casino owners would sell dealer memberships at a high price, usually for hundreds of coins if not thousands. Usually owners would sell multiple tiers of memberships, with the dice sharing membership usually incurring a premium fee since in-game dice can't be rigged. Casino owners could sell hundreds of these memberships, and it isn't unusual to hear them earn tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of coins by selling them. That's equivalent to tens of thousands of US dollars. The risks outweigh the benefits. With no real moderation and a currency backed with real-life money, it is easy to see how Habbo turned into a virtual experiment of unregulated capitalism. Many players of the game are teenagers, and a sizable proportion of players are adolescent children. Most of them don't have a background in economics, yet the conditions of the game led to the emergence.
But now they know how to gamble, and that's important.
In such a harsh environment, some chose to quit. Others decided to make their own communities, a much fairer one than the one Habbo offers. But that's a story for another time.
Exit Prime, Azure. That was very interesting. I didn't know any of that about Habbo. How I made $200 daily playing Habbo Hotel. Oh my god. How the teenage players of Habbo Hotel turned to financial crime. Oh my god, how deep does it go? Okay, let me do this one first, and then I want to see this one. This is from the same guy, so I'm imagining this is a follow-up to this one, because it's more recent. I want to see this one first, though.
When you hear Habbo Hotel, you probably think about autistic kids role-playing, pedophiles hunting them.
Habbo Hotel.
Oh yeah, he never touched on the pedophiles in the last one.
And 4chan raids. Or maybe Quackity. I myself think about the game's economy. The currency in Habbo is not obtainable through gameplay. You must purchase it with real money. Habbo is basically the grandfather of microtransactions. They knew how to scam kids, and boy did they do it. Just listen to the lyrics in their latest promo video. It's basically subliminal message.
Is this gonna be DMCA?
I need some more coins, I need some new clothes. I gotta look fly when I talk to girls. I need some more shoes, and everyone knows that I'm so popular. You gotta play nice, you gotta have gold coins if you wanna be popular. You gotta have gold coins if you wanna be popular.
That is pretty on the nose.
I remember reading in the newspaper about parents put in debt because their kids use the home phone to buy Habbo coins for tens of thousands of dollars. And obviously with the currency only being purchasable with real money, it had quite high real world trading value. Even today 1,000 coins is worth about $70. That's a lot better than some countries. In a game like that you could not trust anyone. There was no content, but to become wealthier, friends you knew for years would scam you if you gave them the opportunity. So how does one make money on Habbo, you ask? Well, there is obviously trading. Some of the furnitures on Habbo are worth up to thousands of dollars, so if you knew what you were doing you could turn a profit like that. You could also swap money between Habbo and RuneScape with favorable ratios.
Really?
Like buying 11 million RuneScape GP for 50 Habbo coins.
Is that deal still on the table? That's an incredible rate for gold on RuneScape. So we just look it up. 50 Habbo coins was what? It was like, I think it was like, what, $5? $5 or $6? You get 11 mil for it? That's some crazy real world trading ratios. Oh man.
And then selling 10 million RuneScape GP for 50 Habbo coins. But the biggest earners were gambling and scamming. The most common way of gambling is dice games. The player trades a bet to the host, who then trades twice the amount back.
That's, hold on, someone's correcting me. That's normal real world trade price. I haven't kept up on real world trading scams and all that recently. What is the going rate of gold all of a sudden? Let me see. LSRS. There's so many gold sellers. I can probably just type in gold seller. Let me see. God, every single one of these has an ad next to it, so I know it's a fucking scam. Jesus Christ. It's a little less than $1 per mil. 65 cents per mil. At least on that one. So no, it looks like the Habbo ratios were a little more favorable. What's wrong with ads? I don't trust it. When you go on Google and the first 3 or 4 results have ad next to it, I really think that they're all malware. Because anyone can pay for that to go right to the top. And I distinctly remember, I don't remember what software it was. It might have actually even been LimeWire, honestly. But I got a rough virus from clicking on one of the ads to download the software. Like, so anyone can put Trojans and shit, those kind of awful websites on there on like the first 3 results with ads. So I never trust it. I never click that. I just scroll beyond it.
If a player wins. But there was no rules on Habbo against scamming. The host could basically just ban you from his room and keep the bet if he lost. If a player were to report such an incident, he would just be told that you should not trust other people with your items and that gambling is bad. To counter this issue,
I don't know why I keep pausing this to read some dumb shit. You peddle ads all the time from the same company, hypocrite. Are you stupid? Like, have you ever used Google? Or do you have like a parental lock on your computer? So if you go to Google, here, I bet RuneLite still has this. There used to be no, they took it down. When you went to Google and did RuneLite, the first thing had an ad there and it was a virus. What's something else that always has ads at the top of a Google search? You have ad block on? No, it doesn't get rid of this. Give me something else. How about this? Crypto casino. This shit. When it has ad. I don't know how dumb you are to think that like a Twitch ad is the same as this. Like, even just looking at the names of these websites. BigTimeSlotGames.com, MyJackpot, and Happy Bets. Anyone can pay for this position here, and it can be viruses, and it's happened many, many times.
The richest players got together to make huge casinos, where they would sell dealership position to players, which would then be removed if the dealer were to scam someone. Gold dealership would, for example, cost 600 coins, which would give the player sort of an insurance that he's okay to take a bet up to 600 coins. But just like in real life, the richest players were the last people you should trust. Every month or 2 we would close down casinos and drive the gambling community towards our new casino, hosted under a different name, to keep selling dealership positions over and over. This gold badge has 486 members. Whoa. 486 members paying 600 coins is 291,600 coins.
Holy
if 1,000
shit.
is $70, then that gives us $20,000. Imagine doing that a few times.
Not bad.
Another way to earn was the Banzai teleport scam. This item will randomly teleport you to any other Banzai teleports in the room. Here I have 9 teleports. I placed 4 gold coins, which is worth 10 coins. I placed 1 silver coin, which is worth 5 coins. And the rest of
DMCA? Why would this be DMCA? It's just the instrumental track. Why people keep saying DMCA? I can't imagine that the instrumental would be a problem. Right?
of them are empty. One go costs 5 coins. In theory, landing on each one would take me 9 attempts.
Thanks, Doug
which
Trio.
would cost
Thanks for the
me
huge
45 coins. And there are 45 coins placed on the teleports. So that will give this game a 50% win-lose ratio. After 10 attempts I won 60 coins. But what not everyone knows is that you can stack multiple teleports on top of each other. After placing a few more teleports on the empty slots, your odds starts to look a lot worse. There are also what we called coin grabbers. These are basically a visual scam, a real sucker's bet if you will. What you would do is roll 2 dices, and the dices would act like coordinates, so 3 plus 3 would be a win, but rolling a 4 or above on either dice is a loss. Kids would view this as only half the numbers are gone, but in reality only 9 out of 36 possible outcomes is a win. In Habbo there are items called
These are good
These
scams.
works just
Holy
like
shit.
triggers in the Warcraft 3 editor, if you are familiar with it. So for example, by using trigger, user walks on Fernie, and effect, teleport to Fernie, I can create a teleport. With words I managed to create a functional card deck inside Habbo. Blue 10s are kings, yellow 10s are queens, green 10s are jacks and blue 1s are aces. Using this I hosted a blackjack table. The left lever pulls a card, while the right one resets them all. So basically I draw one for player, one for myself, and another one for the player. Let's say player sticks at 15, I draw a second
This
card.
is so fucking deep! Jesus
But
Christ!
my blackjack table had a catch. I added chat commands using Swedish letters to draw myself 10 and ace on demand. And chat commands are only visible to the user.
Whoa, that's so
Again I draw
smart!
one for player, one for the dealer, and
Oh
another
my
one for the
God.
player. Player sticks at 20. I draw myself ace and house wins. This blackjack table was originally introduced on Habbo by me, and boy was
We've
it
got a
profitable.
pioneer here.
These are just a few examples of ways we got rich on Habbo. There was a lot of money to be made selling the profits on forums and playerauctions.com. But you don't need to take my word for it. Take the famous Playerfish for example, who quit Habbo in
Oh
2013.
my God.
After selling all his belongings he ended up with $55,000. And he was by no means the richest player on Habbo. You might think what we did was immoral, but honestly everyone
I don't
else
think
was
so,
out
it's
to
fucking
scam you on
Habbo.
Habbo anyway, and we were just kids. If you think RuneScape had a large amount of scammers and lurers, you don't even know the half of it. If anything, this game taught me valuable life lessons. I learned to barter, I learned many of the red flags of someone trying to trick you, and I learned to never gamble. Because remember kids, the house always wins. Now you're probably asking
This is
yourself
crazy.
if you can still do this today 2018. I'm sorry to disappoint, but this was not meant to be a tutorial, but rather a trip down
These are
memory lane.
Unsalted and Biggest
Gambling was
Moisty.
banned back in 2014, so Habbo could get a child-friendly rating on the App Store. There is still gambling going on, but the scene is really dead, and all the gamblers are using
Really dead?
auto
Look at her
tips
busting
to
it
avoid
out.
bans, so there is a
Fucking
high
going
risk
wild.
of getting scammed. Habbo is 18 years old, and on its last legs anyway. Unless you're Brazilian. The Brazilian server is bigger than the international one nowadays for some reason. Earlier this year 60% of Sulak's shares got sold to Orange Games. And they also released a new
These are some
game called
Kratos.
Hotel Hideaway, so the end is near. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Farewell.
That was so fucking cool. I had no idea about any of this shit. Habbo seems awesome. Holy lord. I can't believe I never got scammed on Habbo. I never cared about coins or anything because to me, like I said, to me and my friends, it was just going on there to mess with people. I wish I got into it though. I always got scammed on RuneScape and scammed on RuneScape. I remember a buddy of mine on RuneScape. I already told this. Buddy of mine on RuneScape used to do a lot of trade scams back when you could do that, swapping armor out. Used to make so much off that. Nowadays, are there any modern games where scams are prevalent? I feel like no one scams anymore. Like, does New World have any scams? I think the Prime Hawk. I've already seen the pool is closed from Internet Historian. Pool is closed is Internet History. Roblox? Roblox probably has a lot of scams actually, now that I think about it. It's called crypto now. I meant games. People are begging to be scammed like every day in the real world. I'm talking about like games. EVE Online always has some incredible stuff. Yeah, EVE, Roblox. I don't know why people are mentioning Rocket League. What scams exist in Rocket League? How can a player scam you there? Like selling their account or something? Thanks to give sub Queen of Games. Oh, CSGO. CSGO definitely has a fair share of scams with like lottery sites and all that. Item trading. Okay, so there's still a few. Okay, now let's watch this one. Actually, let me fill up my water before we do this one. This one's 50 minutes. but I'm too deep now. I've got to see financial crime from Habbo. I'm already like an hour into Habbo research. I'm expecting the cartel to be operating some kind of business here now. So I'm excited. Just give me 1 second though. I'm back. Thanks to the resub Mortified. And the Prime, the Maniac.
Habbo Hotel is an online multiplayer game aimed primarily at teenagers. The game allows you to explore rooms, chat with other players, and make your own creations. But most importantly, it allows you to trade. As Habbo's monetization model relies on the purchase of virtual coins, it is in Habbo's interest to generate demand for their currency. And over the past 20 years, Habbo has meticulously crafted an ultra-consumerist environment to facilitate this demand.
Hey, what the fuck is this? The prices have gone up. We checked earlier. It was 630 credits for 75 bucks. What kind of nonsense is this?
In my previous video. But what happens if people don't want to pay for coins? What happens when people get fed up of waiting in red queues, working in drab corporate jobs, or selling their personal details away in dodgy survey sites? Well, they turn to crime. Over the past 6 months, I've talked to dozens of players to explore the topic of financial crime, logging over 200 pages of interview transcripts, reading the relevant academic literature on the topic, and even catching people in the act. In this video essay, I will explore how financial crime has evolved over time, how Habbo chooses to respond,
like the Batman of Habbo Hotel,
and finally give you a personal note. I hope you enjoy.
He's a tier 1 assassin in the resub Dino. The bit Scrub Lord.
Back in the early 2000s, the internet was the new frontier of technology, and being new and unfamiliar, it was basically the Wild West. Habbo Hotel was a game birthed during this era, and being an innovative new game, it was rather broken. Scripters were players who basically hacked the game using exploits. They manipulated code within the game. While some scripters did it merely for fun, such as allowing themselves to decorate their rooms better, others decided to give themselves endless amounts of...
Whoa, what the fuck is this?
This was also a time when internet security wasn't much of a thing. For example, it has been alleged that one of the richest players in UK Habbo obtained their wealth through one of the largest hacking conspiracies in the game's history. I would like to point out that I was unable to cross-reference this claim. I'd like to tell you the story anyways, as it helps illustrate a point. Back in 2002, Ione, who was serving as the UK's hotel manager, gave each player who logged in during her birthday a special gift. Each gift contained one of 3 items: a throne, a Russian samovar, or a holoboy.
Wow, nice goodie bag.
These items would be known as the Ione gifts, and they would end up being highly sought after. The throne, in particular, would continue to dominate the market for generations, and its contemporary value sits around 600 coins.
Why was she so special?
$58 at black market rates. Now, let's move forward to 2006. The player made a realization. Most of the recipients of the Ione gifts, the players of 2001 and 2002, were most likely to have moved on from Habbo and would have left their accounts abandoned 4 years later. And so, allegedly, they began to conduct brute force attacks against vast swathes of abandoned accounts, helpfully aided by Habbo itself, which decides to publicly display when users have last logged in. These brute forcing attempts were also helped by the fact that back in the day, there were no password requirements. As such, someone could literally set their password as 123456 or password. And in the age where internet security wasn't as prevalent, you can guess what people set their password as. By spamming thousands of username and password
nuts.
They were able to crack account after account, taking both
the
and the only gift that came with it. And
Shitty
being
password?
the enterprising hacker that they were, they didn't let the hacked accounts go to waste. Some of these accounts had so-called rare names, usernames which were highly sought after, and players were willing to pay a high price
Thanks
for
for some
them.
German,
It was
Fritz.
claimed
Give some
that the
Pierre.
operation was so profitable that they had to subcontract their work to others to hack accounts for them. Habbo eventually caught on to these brute force attacks and soon required users to log in with their emails as opposed to their usernames, and it also started implementing password requirements. Old-fashioned hacking was being clamped down and scripting was pushed more and more into obscurity. Enterprising criminals, for the most part, couldn't rely on exploiting Habbo's instability or flaws to get rich anymore. There were clearly successful attempts, such as in 2017, when two players exploited a hole which allowed them to generate millions of coins. But these hacks against Habbo itself became rarer, so criminals had to find another way. But don't
Still on the front lines of controversy
teenagers and their desire
and crime.
to obtain virtual currency. Scams have been ubiquitous in the world of Habbo. Being scammed is such an ingrained experience of Habbo that it acts almost like a rites of passage. Unlike
I
the
never
hacker,
got
which
scammed. I
utilizes
wish I did.
technical expertise, the scammer
I didn't get the full
utilizes
experience.
confidence and charisma. Habbo has an entire page cataloguing many common scams on their website, but this video would be a lot longer if we tried to cover every single scam. Back when people still logged in with their usernames, password scams were fairly common. For example, a scammer might say, "Oh look, Habbo censors your password." The victim would
That was a RuneScape
type their
scam.
password.
Did it come from
The scammer
Habbo?
would log into the victim's account and change their login details. If the scammer
I don't think it ever
they
worked
could tell
though.
the victim to type their password and press Ctrl M instead. In the past, Ctrl M acted the same way as the Enter button. Habbo has now since patched this. Another low-effort scam involved the scammer claiming
I don't think
that
that
they had
ever
special
fucking worked.
hacking tools to duplicate
I refuse to believe anyone was that dumb.
All the victim
Even as a
had to do
kid.
was hand over their coins to the scammer. Then the scammer runs away with the money. This scam happened so often, a counter-scam was developed where someone would pretend to be a skeptical yet naive victim. The victim would claim that they were going to give one coin to the scammer as a test to see whether the scammer is legit. If the scammer could double the victim's money, they would hand over a larger sum.
This is all RuneScape
Setting blood
scams!
in the water, the scammer would pretend to double the victim's money and hand over 2 coins. The victim would then run away. As time moved on,
Oh
players
my
generally
God!
became more clued up to these rudimentary low-effort scams. The decline of these low-effort scams were also
Thanks
due
for some
in part to the
Clayton.
efforts by moderators, when they existed back then, who would ban anyone who tried to claim that they can duplicate furniture or coins. And so, scams became more sophisticated. Falling Furniture FF is a game hosted on Habbo, and it's sort of like musical chairs. The host would place
This game
down
looks
chairs
fucking
and people
lit!
would rush to sit on them.
You just go and
The
sit on a
last
toilet
remaining
seat?
person to not get a seat gets eliminated from the round, and the cycle repeats until a winner is produced. In the past, hosts would ask the loser whether they wish to pay to stay, pay for revenge, or leave the game.
Pay for
This
revenge?
choice is commonly referred to as P2S,
What does that mean?
Rev, or Kick. Pay to stay allows the player to
What
stay in the
revenge?
game,
They get to, like,
effectively
execute
doing
someone?
a rerun of that round. Usually the cost of pay to stay is 1 coin or its furniture equivalent. Revenge, on the other hand, allows the player to pick someone else to lose that round. This bizarre mechanic
What?
essentially meant that any player could effectively pay to kick a player they did not like. Because it was a much more powerful option,
That's
the
genius.
price of revenge
Actually
is
genius.
usually higher, around 2 to 3 coins. Now here's the catch. When someone is a victim of revenge, they don't immediately get kicked out. Instead, they're given a choice to pay to stay, pay for revenge, or to leave the game.
This is so
has
smart.
led to the phenomenon of rev.
Kids would absolutely do that out of
People
spite.
battle it out by revving each other. And by revving each other, I mean one person pays the host coins, and then the other pays the host coins, and then you're starting to see how profitable rev wars can be. Scammers, however, began exploiting this business
Thanks for
model,
some boop
and
and
here's
Twitch
how you do it.
Ninja.
Step 1. Hire a scamming buddy. This person will be your partner in
Oh,
crime.
that'll do it,
If you
Supra.
were
Thanks for
proficient
some
enough
dizzy.
to play with 2 accounts at once, you could also use an alt account. Step 2. Advertise a lavish game. If you want to pull people in, you want to make sure that you have a large prize. The larger the prize, the more willing people will be to spend money on P2S and revs for a chance to win a prize. Step 3. Make your partner the winner. If your partner is the winner, you can pretend to give them a prize without actually giving them anything. It would give the illusion that you are a trustworthy host and you are able to bag any PTOS and rev money as profit. But how do you reach this stage? Well, if your partner ends up losing a round, they can just rev someone. They don't actually have to pay you anything, they only pretend to pay you something. If they choose a particularly wealthy victim, they could even start a rev war. A rev war that your partner
That's so
can't possibly lose.
smart. What? I'm blown away right now. An actual revenge loop, and then a scam on top of the scam where you get someone to go in with you that pretends to be like revving a rich player. So that way the rich player revs them back, and it just goes on and on and on until the rich player runs out of money, and you just say that your friend won. Genius. How? No way kids came up with this. This was absolutely the work of like fucking Bernie Madoff or something. Like he was in here running Habbo scams. There's just no like the fucking Penguin from Gotham was in this bitch. Like this is so actually smart. And also to the person, I saw you mention that you lost your account because you gave someone your password on RuneScape. I did the same shit, kind of. When I was a kid, I had an account called Strong Wolfo. It was my main on RuneScape, or like one of my 5 mains back then. And my password was Wolfo. And one guy was teasing me. He's like, I bet your password's fucking weak. And I'm like, no, it's actually really strong. I got a really cool password. He's like, no, you fucking don't. And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, oh, well, what is it? And I was like, it's Wolfo. There goes the account. Yeah, so I definitely would have fallen for scams 100%. But the one that I always knew I would never do is like the Jagex censors your password. I never thought anyone would fall for that.
At the end of the day, you count up your profits and split half to your partner in crime. Or you could just ban them and keep all of the profits. Pay-to-stay scams in their day were one of the most lucrative scams on Habbo, and arguably the key to its success was the fact that it was much more sophisticated. Unlike the I can double your money or give me your password scams,
what you fell for is
scams
worse.
themselves
Yeah, it
were
was.
automatically
I agree.
incriminating.
I got the account
To
back.
prove that they were working in concert with someone else.
I didn't lose it
You had
forever,
to
but
check transaction logs to
that did
see
give me
whether
a scare.
trades actually happened, which altogether led to many of the pay-to-stay scammers not being dealt with. In the end, pay-to-stay as a concept phased out. It is commonly believed that pay-to-stay is now a banned practice in Habbo, something that also followed the gambling ban back in 2014, but I was unable to verify that this was true. On the contrary, according to the official Habbo help page, pay-to-stay and rev is seemingly allowed. Whatever the case, its long-standing connotation of being an outright scam makes it no longer a widespread practice. Another sophisticated scam is the fake buyer scam. To give some context, Habbo's economy is very reliant on merchanting, which is the practice of buying furniture at a low price and selling that furniture at a higher price for profit.
Big in RuneScape too. So much similarity.
At their shops waiting for customers to buy their goods, and then spend more hours scouring other shops owned by other Habbos to buy more items.
Hey Carl,
then they would
good to
sell
see you, man. Hope you're doing well.
acquired items at a markup to get more money to
Thanks
buy
for the
more items to sell. What was I even doing with my life? The fake buyer scam specifically targeted merchants, and this is how it's done. Step 1. Obtain furniture. These pieces of furniture must be disposable.
Fucking banging furniture in here.
A piece of
Santa's
furniture
sleigh.
that most people will not have, and one that is cheap for you to buy. An example furniture that you could use for this scam are these red pixel furnitures. Most new players haven't seen it before, and if you know where to look for it, you can easily buy 10 for 1 coin. Step 2. Get yourself an alt account. You could also employ a scamming partner, but it's completely unnecessary, and also you banned them. Step 3. Enter the shop with your alt account. This is the fake buyer. Pretend to browse around with your alt account, maybe make some small talk with the shop owner. If you're feeling daring, you could even try and buy something to establish a relationship. Step 4. Plant the seed. Ah yes, I was wondering if you had red pixel furniture by any chance. Chances are, if the shop owner did not display the red furniture in their shop, they probably wouldn't.
20 coins for information?
Well, if you do find any red furniture, please contact me as soon as possible. You add them to your friend list and then mention something along the lines of, I'm willing to pay 20 coins for every piece of red furniture that you have. Now that you've planted the seed in their head, they'll be actively on the lookout for this mysterious red furniture.
And they'll
Step
go to
5,
your friend's
enter
shop
the second
or your
account.
main
You
account.
don't want to attract or arouse suspicion, so you arrive sometime later.
Oh, actually,
Your second
yeah, you
account
just
is
bring the account
that
there.
has your disposable furniture.
Oh, fuck, yeah,
Again,
makes sense.
You browse the shop, establishing a relationship
Cuts out the
with the shop
middleman.
owner. Then you inquire, do you buy furniture by any chance? If they don't, ask whether they want to trade. Chances are a shop owner would be somewhat interested by your proposition. And so, step 6. Make the hard sell. Tell the owner that you're selling rare items like, oh, I don't know, this red pixel furniture that you just so happen to have. By offering to sell it at a much lower price than what the fake buyer is offering, like 10 coins, you create an almost irresistible opportunity.
Genius!
And then
Fucking genius!
trade. And that's how
These
you
are the smartest kids in the world!
a piece of furniture that was only worth
God
100.
damn!
The emergence of these more
Fuck.
sophisticated and complex scams
Little
show
baby
an
geniuses
evolution
out
of the
here.
art of scamming and an evolution of financial crime as a whole. As the players of Habbo get progressively smarter and more informed about scams, scam artists find themselves having to resort to greater lengths to part you from your money. But scams aren't the only forms of financial crime on Habbo Hotel. With corporations playing an increasingly larger role in Habbo over the past few years, some players have spotted a new opportunity on the horizon.
Corporate corruption.
In
Jesus
November
Christ.
2017, Cess, also known as May,
I'm excited.
to the highest office of the Habbo White House.
Turns out, like, Nintendo's got a
Election
sect in
was
here
a
scamming
landmark in
kids.
the organization's history, as she became the White House's first female president. Meanwhile, Infernum, also known as Craig, was packing his bags. Having served his 2-month term, he was now the outgoing president.
This lore
Following
is
the
wild.
footsteps of 14 previous presidents, he now bore responsibility to pass the keys of the presidency to his successor. This democratic transition of power is the cornerstone of the Habbo White House. Rarely
Here's a
do
tier 1
agencies
McMuffin.
or corporations hold elections for their highest office. And so, as the keys of power were being handed over, a fact transpired. The treasury account was empty. Most corporations had a special treasury account. Any donations or profits earned from sales would be stored in this account. Treasury accounts meant that multiple trusted people could do transactions on the organization's
Your
behalf.
fucking secret agent assassin bodyguard sleeping on the job.
It
Fire
has
him.
also led to the problem of $400 worth of coins being embezzled from the treasury with no obvious culprit. An inquiry was quickly held and soon fingers were pointed at both Cess and Infernum. The heist was done in perfect timing. The transition period between presidencies meant that both Cess and Infernum had access to the treasury account
Thanks, you
at the
sub-unicorn.
same time. The inquiry went cold and the culprit was never found. The rise in corporate crime is a more recent phenomenon. As corporations play a much more significant role in the day-to-day lives of players, they present greater and more audacious opportunities for any would-be criminals.
What do they do? I don't understand. Like, what do the corporations do? This actually just looks like some Heaven's Gate shit. Like, everyone's glowing over here, like they're about to go Super Saiyan. Beastly tuxedos talking about Sugar Mama Lauren, like, and here's the dog. What do the corporations actually accomplish in the game? How are they generating money? We saw in the last video he did that they make money by hiring people to boss people around, so they literally get people to pay for a power trip. But he's saying corporations play a role in the day-to-day activities of the community, and I don't really see how. From everything we've learned about the corporations so far in the last 3 videos.
Exploit. As for our story, the Habbo White House learnt its lesson and reformed the Treasury to prevent future presidents from embezzling funds. One of these reforms was to put the hands of the Treasury account to one single trustee, chosen from an elected board. That way,
Oh my
only
God.
one person could access the account. If anything went missing,
Okay.
it was clear who the culprit was. With these reforms in place, the White House had to start over, and through donation drives and sales, they managed to rebuild the Treasury. All in all, they managed to reaccumulate $450 worth of coins and rares. And these treasury reforms ended up working. For 1 year, when in 2018 a trustee called Jess emptied out the entire treasury account after the White House tried to impeach her.
She looks like a pirate. Like, what was the hiring process like here? I could tell you if I was on the board of trustees and I was vetting for the next person to handle my treasury in Habbo, I would not pick this person. They look like a fucking criminal. 100%. We're talking big fucking bucks here. Some huge noodles. I'm not gonna risk it with someone who comes in here with a goddamn eye patch. It's unreal. It's like they didn't even try.
For allegedly working for the Habbo Mafia. Of course, embezzlement and
The Habbo
corruption
Mafia,
doesn't just happen
Sounds
in
about
the
right.
Habbo White House. But with so many careers, livelihoods, and money on the line, many people who I approached simply did not want to talk about this topic. A high-ranking official of one of Habbo's largest corporations eventually decided to talk to me under the strict condition of anonymity. In our interview, they made explosive allegations against their corporate founder. They claimed the founder would regularly use the treasury as their personal bank account, withdrawing thousands of coins at a time to sell in the black market to quote-unquote fuel their clubbing habit. In fact, the embezzlement of corporate funds was done so frequently, the board of directors actively fabricate numbers in their spreadsheet and
They have a spreadsheet? A Habbo Hotel Corporation treasury spreadsheet of their coins to in-game dollars. And they also have an accountant cooking the books. There's no way these are real numbers, right? From Habbo Hotel coins? Like, this can't be fucking right. 236,000 US dollars for Habbo Hotel coins? I must be misunderstanding this, I think. There's no fucking way. Yeah, is there a Habbo Hotel IRS? Next to tier 1, Mr. Toxic and the Prime Gav and the Resub Jam and the Prime Resi. I helped run the biggest underground casino on Habbo. If you want some solid information, hit me up, brother. Yeah, what were you pulling in monthly? Like, I imagine, if these like actual sensible numbers that people were making from Habbo Hotel coins and selling them? Or is this just like, if they sold them, what the total could be, like under ideal circumstances? Like, how often were you able to flip coins in Habbo Hotel to actual USD? I can't imagine it was a booming market where everyone was buying all the time. Like, I don't know. There's no way. These numbers have to be. I have to be misunderstanding these.
to report the revenue earned to their founder to prevent them from literally sinking the company into debt. In another claim, one of the founder's deputies managed to achieve their high rank by regularly sending gifts to the founder. Over the course of a few years, an estimated total of $3,000 worth of gifts were given by this deputy.
That's all?
This deputy is the second highest official of the corporation. And, in order to dominate the market further, the founder was even alleged to have tried to create a second corporation. Pouring thousands of coins worth of investment into it, their intention was to monopolize the entire agency by falsifying the illusion of choice. Workers of said corporation would think that they were working for a rival company, when in fact it was staffed by the same administration, just with alt accounts. If successful, the founder would operate 2 profitable corporations, doubling their intake.
Holy
10
shit.
people showed up to its
So
opening
smart.
ceremony, and the project was scrapped 3 weeks later.
Oh.
When I asked
Unfortunately
another
not smart.
high-ranking official of the same corporation to comment on these allegations, they disputed the claims. The founder does not take money from us unless necessary, said the official. They insisted that revenue earned was reinvested back into the corporation.
Yeah, it's crazy,
A
K-Mon.
dig into the company's finances revealed that in 2019, the company's annual turnover was approximately 300,000 credits. That is equivalent to $20,000 US.
Okay,
Coins were sold.
I think this helped illustrate it. This is not US dollars that they're pulling in, it's coins. Okay, that makes so much more sense. It's still a lot of money, obviously, as evident here. But it's coins, not 254,000 US dollars, 254,000 coins.
Sold at black market rates. A vast majority of the corporation's revenue came from rank sales, which is where an employee would pay to get a higher rank. Other streams of revenue include selling VIP and special visitor passes, which give privileges to rich people that can afford them. Of that revenue, approximately 70% was spent on wages, totaling up to $16,800 worth of coins. The high-ranking officials that I was talking to also get a slice in the form of commission when they successfully make a sale. On average,
Man, what
each
the
of these
fuck is
officials
Habbo
make
Hotel?
2,000 credits annually.
I never experienced any of this.
The last 20% is the founder's profit,
This is
also
incredible.
known as a reinvestment fund, which totals up to 60,000 credits, or $4,800. With corporations presenting such lucrative pay for those at the top, it is no longer a mystery why so few want to blow the whistle.
Oh my god. Quick text message.
Angelic is no stranger to scams. Having been twice a victim, she lost all of her furniture and coins. In total, she bought over $130 worth of virtual goods legitimately on Habbo Hotel.
Oh, you idiot. Going legit in Habbo?
Habbo simply told her that she couldn't recover her stolen items that she paid for. This is in line with Habbo's policy and terms of service. Habbo defines their virtual currency and goods not as property but as part of the gameplay experience. Or, as Habbo puts it, you have no interest, including no property, proprietary, intellectual property, ownership or monetary interest in your virtual currency and virtual goods, which remain our content and property.
Very hardline
stance.
This
means that you don't enjoy the same protections with virtual property as you do with real property, because under the Habbo terms of service, your coins and your furniture aren't even your property. They belong to Habbo, and Habbo could theoretically do whatever it wants with it. The question of whether these terms of service are legally enforceable is a rather murky question.
He's throwing Creek in the resub Elijah.
But internationally, there is a trend where countries are beginning to recognize that virtual property deserves the same protection. In one notable case in 2003, hackers gained access to a player's account and stole $1,200 worth of virtual items. A Beijing court found Optic Ice, the developers of the game, liable for the loss suffered by the player and was forced to reimburse the lost property.
That's great!
In that case, the game publishers argued that virtual items are merely a pile of data and could not constitute a thing that could be stolen under Chinese law. The rejection of this interpretation led China to become one of the first countries to recognize that virtual property is entitled to the same legal protections as other forms of property. Furthermore, Arctic Ice also argued that the player agreed to the terms of service, which stated that the security of a player's account is their own responsibility, and by extension, the player is responsible if their stuff gets stolen. This echoes Habbo policy, which describes being a victim of a scam as user error, and Habbo states that it does not allow for reimbursement for quote-unquote.
Damn, they're good. I feel like Habbo Hotel was scamming people on the low too.
To reimburse the lost items.
They were in the thick of it, running casinos.
This argument.
The higher ups.
Other countries adopt a similar legal interpretation. Habbo's policy may not actually be legally enforceable. In a more recent case in 2012, the Dutch Supreme Court followed suit and held that virtual items can be considered goods which can be stolen. The argument that
this is crazy. Taking a virtual object in RuneScape is now being labeled as legitimate theft. If I was this is 2012. I would have stopped scamming by this point. Imagine I went to a Dutch prison or something. I get fucking deported from scamming people in RuneScape. Holy shit. Well, this is also an extremely intense case. Took the 13-year-old victim to the home of the co-defendant, where they assaulted and threatened the victim with knives to coerce him into logging into his RuneScape account, and then dropped the objects in the game environment. Jesus Christ. Thanks to the resub slammed.
Virtual goods were mere bits and bytes was rejected. Putting legality aside, however, Habbo is entirely within their power to reimburse victims of financial crime. In the terms of service, Habbo writes that they reserve the absolute right at any time in our sole discretion to manage, regulate, control, modify, or eliminate virtual currency and or virtual goods. Habbo actively refuses to do this, instead choosing to blame the victim of a crime by calling it user error. When I tried to contact Sulake, the company that owns Habbo, on why they operate such a policy, they did not respond to my request for comment. I'm not the first person to have highlighted the issues of Habbo's opaque policies. 7 years ago, in 2013, two professors wrote that the players of Habbo are learning to be diligent consumers, buying virtual products that will help to construct their identities and relationships, in a context where everything they produce and everything they appear to possess is in fact owned by a company that remains largely unaccountable for its business practices. The professors claim that children are the primary consumers of Habbo. According to a survey done in 2004, 75% of players on Habbo were between 10 to 14 years old. Unlike adult consumers, however, children tend to have less resources to defend themselves against unfair business
And
practices.
whose fault is
In
that?
many cases, this
Being a
sense of
child is
power
cringe.
leads to
Just
anger
be an
and
adult,
forms of
dummy.
activism, wrote the professors.
Defend
Some
yourself in
users respond
court.
to what they regard as injustice by insulting or threatening either the company or the individual moderators. Others develop plans to bankrupt Habbo Hotel by creating illegal replicas. Some Hispanic players felt so shafted by Habbo's business practices they even formed the Habbo Revolutionary Union. Depressingly, these issues were highlighted 7 years ago.
What?
And in the past 7 years, nothing has changed. Angelic's tale isn't just one tragic story of someone getting their virtual goods stolen, it is a tale repeated over and over again, a tale Habbo has been accustomed to, and one where Habbo, in every case, chooses not to act. In fairness, there is a case to be made in Habbo's defense. The policy of not reimbursing victims of crime is a standard in MMOs. RuneScape, for example, does not reimburse victims of scams. In their lost items policy, RuneScape claims that their focus is on the prevention of crime, as opposed to what they call dealing with the fallout and chasing after the harm has been done. The question should therefore be whether virtual goods should be treated differently by the industry as a whole, as opposed to Habbo itself. Habbo, like RuneScape, also claims that their focus is on warning players about scams and educating players, and to their credit, there is some evidence
Thanks,
of
Prime,
this.
sweet kitten.
As mentioned before, Habbo has a comprehensive list of scams in their help pages. The issue is, you have to dig quite a bit to actually find it. There is also a pinned news article from 2018 warning people of phishing sites. Habbo also hires ambassadors, specifically selected volunteers whose role is to help welcome new players into the community and help moderate public.
Is this one of them?
They
DB
also
Cooper
host
over
events
here?
called Infobus sessions.
That's one of your
where
community
they raise
leaders?
awareness of certain issues. One of these issues was on scams and fraud. To find out whether these sessions actually worked, I decided to attend one and was immediately greeted by a queue. Each session takes around 15 to 25 minutes and the bus has limited capacity.
Oh my
These
god.
restrictions created a massive line, and I begrudgingly waited for my turn. After some time, the old batch exited the bus and a new batch of people were allowed in. Only then did I learn I was person 25. The maximum capacity of the bus was 24. Needless to say, I very much wasn't amused. I was finally allowed to enter the bus, and Josh, my ambassador, immediately begins laying down the ground rules.
This is
Josh,
creepy. So this is like an official Habbo instructional thing for the community? You gather them here in like a fucking trailer, and you sit in a circle and Josh looks into your soul? Like, does it go one by one? Oh, this is weird. I'm trying to read their conversation. Okay.
then proceeds to tell players not to visit random URLs given by complete strangers, a good tip. They also recommended the use of Habbo's safety lock feature, where Habbo will ask users security questions before they can fully access their account, another good tip. Josh also gives password advice, such as changing your password regularly and using lots of numbers, symbols, and capital letters.
Imagine, oh my god, I thought of a cool scam here. Imagine if one of these ambassadors decided to start scamming. So these are obviously kids that are trying to learn about how to be safe on Habbo. But imagine, so when he talks about password safety, he like kind of leads them down a path of like a password that he wants them to get to, right? So, you know, like a strong password would probably be something like your name plus a couple letters, like 1, 4, and 5. And then he could just take a list of everyone who visited his seminar and just try those kind of passwords in. Maybe get lucky on a few accounts. Josh, maybe we got something here.
Which is actually outdated advice. What should have been emphasized instead is the fact that you should use different passwords for different platforms in case one of your passwords get compromised in a data breach. And one way in which you can manage
I meant numbers, whatever.
you meant,
you know what I meant.
any
You know what I
password
meant.
manager. That could have been a perfect segue. No one offered to sponsor me, so... Anyways, the session ends, and then we are thrown into the deep end to complete a quiz before we receive a special badge which we can pin on our user profile. When asked to comment, a different ambassador who wished to stay anonymous said that they and their fellow colleagues genuinely believe that their sessions are helpful in educating users. However, they also privately expressed doubts. One of these doubts revolved around giving away free badges. While free stuff works great as an incentive for people to attend these sessions, they end up mostly attracting veteran and seasoned players, the people least likely to fall for basic scams. These players end up taking up space which would otherwise be more useful to newer players. But apart from writing a few articles and asking volunteer players to run education sessions, Habbo doesn't actually seem to be doing that much. Which begs the question, why? Why doesn't Habbo do more in tackling financial crime?
Well, what are they supposed to do? Hire an investigator?
We can only speculate.
No, we don't have to speculate. It's just really not worth the money.
For example, during my visit, someone hosted a fake giveaway. In this giveaway, the scammer asked people to visit this website to comment on their photo. This website is a phishing website. It's a fake website that looks just like Habbo, and these were big. Information. Once the scammer
not for Habbo, but for RuneScape, these were big.
Victim's account, steal their items, and change their password so that they can no longer access
those
their
were big.
account. What makes the scam so effective, however, is account hopping. This is when a scammer uses one of these stolen accounts to set up shop. They advertise the fake giveaway under this stolen account. Once they've run the scam using that account for a few days, they move on to a new stolen account. This is what happened to Angelic. She found out that not only was her account hacked, but it was used to set up one of these fake giveaways. As for Victoria, the person pictured running the scam, her account was stolen too. But not only did she learn that her coins and furniture were stolen, she learned that her account was being hijacked to run the fraudulent giveaway. Players, none the wiser, began to spread the message through word of mouth that Victoria is a scammer, completely ruining her reputation in the process.
Oh no, Victoria!
When she tried to contact Habbo to recover her account, she received no response. Instead, Habbo decided to ban her hacked account for scamming.
Oh no!
Deterred and simply moved on to a different account. But this explanation is not satisfying.
Rest in peace, Victoria.
Not all scams are this sophisticated. There are still many
rudimentary
and basic scams that are being done without any consequence for the scammer. Secondly, it would put the competence and effectiveness of moderation in question, if it exists at all. This brings us to our second possible explanation, the lack of moderation. The ambassador I spoke to gave harsh and scathing criticism against the state of moderation on Habbo, decrying it next to non-existent. While in my previous video I claimed that there were no moderators on Habbo, the ambassador informed me that they were told by staff that there were off-client moderators.
There's a prime bong water.
View flagged content from outside the game. These moderators don't actually log into the game, and therefore don't have a clear picture of what actually is happening. If they do exist, they are doing a terrible job, they remarked. But if this is true, this also brings with it a troubling thought. The last time that Habbo lacked moderation, this happened.
Good evening. It is every parent's terror that their internet-literate child will arrive in a make-believe children's web world that is so unsafe that he or she can be propositioned for sex by a paedophile within 4 minutes.
And finally, there is a third and much more simple
what a speed run! What?
On why Habbo doesn't do that much. There simply is no fight.
Habbo's got the fastest pedophiles in the world. And Joseph Stalin, I guess.
Good customer service would overall lead to more customers. That's why businesses tolerate even the most obnoxious of Karens. However, Habbo runs differently from other businesses.
Why is Joseph Stalin just hanging out?
Revolves around the sale of virtual currency that would only be worth something to players that actually play the game.
This is 5 gifts of bong water, appreciate it, man.
Chances are you're already deep in it.
And maybe Varus.
Going back to the paper written by the two professors, they observed that as users spend more time on Habbo, they create what is known as social capital, which basically means friendships act as their own currency. When someone stops playing Habbo, either by quitting or by being banned, they lose this social capital, in other words, their friendships. As Habbo prohibits, or tries to prohibit, people from sharing links to external communication websites like Discord, they effectively monopolize the social capital generated by their players. Or to put it in another way, the only way to meet your friends is through Habbo. What this means is that the cards are effectively stacked in Habbo's favour. You can quit if you want, but if you quit, all your possessions are gone, all your creative labour is gone, and all of your social capitals, your friends, are also gone. As one player remarked, "Believe me, I know what it's like to get f***ed up by these mods. You spend money, and they don't even think for a second about your friends, money spent, etc. When there is such a large disparity of
sorry to hear that, long and fat.
customers, a company no longer needs to
sad.
entertain the idea of customer satisfaction. You're going to play Habbo anyways, and Habbo knows you're going to spend more money, so why bother?" If you're not convinced by this explanation, or believe it is unduly cynical, just note that when something directly threatens Habbo's financial interests,
Telefax?
the lack of
Holy
moderation
shit.
becomes a non-issue. In 2017, 2 hackers made use of an exploit to generate millions of coins into their accounts. Soon, they went on a full-on shopping spree, buying tons of rare items. Their shopping spree generated a surge in demand, and soon the rares market entered into a frenzy. People bought thrones for 500 coins and resold them at 700.
Wow!
In one instance, 2 players even bought rare items with their real-life money and sold them to the hackers at marked-up prices.
Let's go!
The hackers didn't mind.
Getting wild.
After all, they could just generate more coins. Habbo caught on, and the admins quickly suspended all trade and market activity on the platform. The hackers were banned along with millions of coins, totaling up to hundreds of thousands of US dollars. If Habbo really wants to intervene, it most certainly has the capacity to do so. With Habbo currently
Is it
riding
Brian
the nostalgia wave after people have
Canadian?
nothing
And the
to
5
do
gift subs
with the
MXL.
current situation.
I want to look up that exploit. So they were able to just generate millions of Habbo coins. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Wait, what the fuck? Habbo NFTs generated $14 million in 24 hours. Yep, that sounds about right. This isn't what I was looking for. This was 2 days ago. Wow. Man, fucking, that's NFTs for you. Okay, let's see. I want to see what this glitch was. Can't really find anything on it though. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Hiding behind excuses of lack
Hey,
of
Prime
funding
Pinota.
and preparation
There's
is
some
no longer
Conrad.
acceptable, although it never was to begin with when you're making a game targeted at teenagers and children. When Habbo fails to act or appropriately respond, it is a deliberate choice made by its top management. Just to clarify, I don't blame the staff members working at Habbo. Over the course of this year, I've seen staff take a more proactive and visible approach, especially in regards to community engagement. But what they can do and what they can spend time on is ultimately decided upon by Habbo itself, and it's Habbo's failings to allocate adequate resources into tackling financial crime that have led Habbo to become complicit in it.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're complicit in the crime, it's just they don't want to spend the resources on it.
Now,
I guess you
first
could
question
argue
might
that
be,
they're
Trolligar,
complicit.
have you been
It's
scammed
fair.
before? And my response is, no, I actually haven't. Not that people haven't tried to scam me before, I've seen it all, but the fact I haven't fallen victim to one is probably due to vigilance and awareness. Now, the keen-eyed of you would have noticed that I've dedicated an entire part of this video to a personal note, and so, in response to your second question,
Thanks for the big 10 gift
yes.
subs, Macho. I appreciate
yes,
that.
I have pulled off some falling furniture and fake
Thank you for that,
scams
Macho.
in the past, but that didn't satisfy me. 15-year-old me wanted to do something more adventurous, so I began brainstorming for ideas. Although, if you thought this was going to be some amateurish affair, you are sorely mistaken. After doing a painstaking amount of planning, I eventually came up with a master plan, the Arrow giveaway. If you watched my previous video on capitalism on Habbo, you would know that I spent an entire section dedicated to dodgy giveaways. The reason why I know so much about them is because I ran one myself.
How
This is
successful
how
was it?
Worked. Firstly, a user would queue up. Once it's their go, they will pull this switch. This switch can do one of two things. The first thing it can do is move the arrow to the right, and the second thing it can
This
do
looks pretty
is
cool.
teleport you to the exit, which means you have lost the game. There is a 50-50 chance of either event happening. If you're wondering why I couldn't just rig the odds, I deliberately placed the Wired, the mechanism to run this game, in plain sight. It was right there, and those who could understand Wired could see it. If the user is lucky enough, they will reach a point where the arrow is pointing to a prize. If this happens, the user is offered two choices, risk or keep. If they say keep, they get the prize indicated on the arrow. If they say risk, they pull the switch again, with a 50% chance to win a greater prize and a 50% chance of losing everything. Now that I have a game made, next I needed to figure out a monetization model. The predominant way of monetizing games like these is with FastPass. This is when a user pays the owner a membership fee, something like 20 coins to get instant or near instant access to the game. There can be other benefits, such as a chance to win a greater prize not available to the peasants. I didn't go for this route. While it was certainly legal, albeit ethically dubious, it most certainly wasn't a sustainable route. When someone purchases FastPass, they only do it once. You can charge someone as high of a price as you want, 20 coins, 50 coins, 100 coins, but the goal of a FastPass purchaser is to get their money back and profit. If you give them unlimited and unfettered access to your game, they will eventually make their money back and you will begin operating at a loss. FastPass operators deal with this with a variety of solutions. One way to deal with this issue is to simply host less. If you host the game less, your FastPass customers simply have less time to win prizes, which reduces their chance of making their money back. But if you host less, you sell less FastPass. It's just that simple. The second solution is to pack up your bags and leave. Once you sell enough FastPasses, you stop hosting, close down the giveaway and open it under a new name, where people have to buy a new FastPass. The issue with this, however, is that this will inevitably trash your reputation. You could try and avoid this problem by moving everything to a new account and
is it tier 1 Alexa
with that account. But this is way too much work for my liking. And the third solution is to make FastPasses time limited. You put an expiration date when you remove someone's FastPass. This seems like the most sustainable option, but it still falls into the pit trap where people are unlikely to pay for FastPass a second time. If your FastPass purchasers are unable to recoup their losses for the first time, they're not going to...
He really did think this through.
Then, one day, I visited someone else's giveaway and saw a novel innovation. Rather than charge for FastPass, they had two queues. One was the peasant queue and the other was the donators queue. How it worked was people who wanted to donate lined up in the donators queue. When they reached the front of the donators queue, they pay a coin or an item to the host. The host will then give them access to the game. The peasant and donator queues are run concurrently, but as more people are lined up in the peasant queue, the donators queue is inevitably quicker. To sweeten the deal, however, donors got a chance to win higher prizes. This was a much better monetization model. Every time someone wanted to use the donators queue, they had to donate something. This meant that the scheme was sustainable. It was effectively a pay-as-you-go model. It was also much more open to others. FastPass schemes tend to target Habbo's middle class, players who are desperate to earn any coins they can, but are also in a position to splash 50 coins for a FastPass in the first place. With this system, even a person with 1 coin could join the donators queue. And also, being rather bold, it allowed me to claim that I was not running a FastPass system. So, I just nixed the idea. For further profit, I planned to sell host licenses.
This is so fucking thorough.
You could host my game in my absence. Any payments you received you could profit from. This also was a further positive for my scheme because it helped promote my brand name. When I opened my Arrow giveaway, I didn't expect it to become an instant hit. It was so successful that in the span of 2 months I was able to afford an entire renovation of my room. It cost 200 coins and was entirely unnecessary, but it was so successful that I decided to do it.
It's a great renovation.
And if you're about to comment that 200 coins is nothing, wealth is relative. But why was it so successful? I don't actually know, but I speculate that it's because it's almost like legalized gambling. With FastPass giveaways, the goal of the FastPass purchaser is to make their money back and earn profit. With my giveaway, you're paying for a premium go at a game that is pure random chance. Many of my frequent donors actually pointed out that they get the same buzz from my giveaway as they would get from casinos and grabbers. The difference is, the latter is banned.
Who?
I
Wait.
ensured I covered my tracks.
Like
I
Habbo
was pretty
casinos or like
explicit
real
with telling
world
people
casinos?
That my random chance game was not gambling, because unlike gambling, where you must pay for a go, you could just line up in the peasant queue for a free go and win free prizes. And I ended up being right, because whilst Matilda, an admin of Habbo, once visited my room and had a go at my game, they complimented me and my staff for running the giveaway and then just left us alone. So you might be wondering, I ran an ethically dubious borderline casino giveaway, but that's not illegal. So
He's a
where's
Prime
the criminal
Crusade.
aspect of it? And the answer is, well, it was rigged. I told you earlier that I placed the wide in plain sight, and so it was not possible for it to be rigged, but I still managed to find a way to do it anyways. To explain specifically how I did it, I'm going to need to give you some background. Wired is the redstone of Habbo. What it allows people to do is to make functions. Each wide function
This guy's
requires
fucking
an input
smart.
and an output. You can tell which is which because inputs are brown boxes and outputs are silver boxes. To make a function, you stack the two boxes together. For example, this input box checks to see whether you have double-clicked an item, like a switch. This output box, meanwhile, allows you to change the state of an item. If a door is locked, it will open, and vice versa. By stacking these two boxes together, we have created a wide function that allows us to control this door using this switch. There is also a third type of wired, conditions. If you add a condition box to your stack, your wide will only perform a function if that condition is met. For example, this condition box checks an item's state. I can set it up so that you can only open a door with this switch if this light is turned on. If the light is turned off, the switch does
So
nothing.
big brain.
Now let's
I'm already
analyze
getting
the piece
lost.
of wide I showed you
Jesus
earlier.
Christ.
This input box takes an input from this switch. This
Habbo's
box
so
is called
deep.
random effect. When it is placed in a wide stack, it makes it so that only one randomly chosen effect is triggered at a time. Finally, there are my two effect boxes. One is a teleport effect that will teleport you to the exit, which means you lose. The other is a move effect, which moves the arrow towards the right. As we have the random effect box, instead of having both effects happen simultaneously, only one will be randomly selected. This setup on its own is not rigged. You genuinely have a 50-50 chance on whether you move the arrow or teleport to the exit.
But I hacked the
There is one
code.
important rule in wide, however, and that is each stack of wide is its own function. But the stack does not have to be continuous. You can have an input and an output box separated by air, and the function still works. So, if we look
What?
up, you will notice an additional piece of wide I didn't talk about. That box is a condition box.
Wait, but
It will
what?
only allow this function to activate if
Oh my god!
I also
I
have
feel
a
like it's the
second wide
fucking
function.
ending to the
In this
Prestige.
function, the input is the same switch, the output box is teleporting to the exit, and the function only operates when the light is off.
What a
Except
twist!
I can make it so that if the light is on, the game works as normal, but if the light is off, you are 100% guaranteed to teleport to the exit. I can flick the light to set the game so that it is either in normal mode or rigged mode.
Oh my
If you noticed
god!
something, you will realize that when the game is in a normal unrigged state, the wide boxes activate and play a small animation. When the game is in a rigged state, those wide boxes are not activated, and so they don't play this animation. So to create the illusion that the wide boxes are activated, I simply created another wide function. The input is the switch, and the output is this, which allows me to change the state of an item. I showed you previously that it can open doors, but it can also turn on lights, do this, and most importantly, trigger the animation effect. Only the owner and those with rights given by the owner can look inside of these wide boxes. So
Even if I could look in them, I wouldn't understand them. This is so deep.
Is if it looks legit.
This is actual just
I deliberately
engineering.
placed my wide set up, or some of it, in the public view to give the perception that I was fully transparent. I went through all of that trouble just to make my game look authentic,
But-
more real than the other.
Okay, but then I don't know if he's about to address this, but if the secret really was just zooming out far enough to be able to click the light into a rig state, couldn't any one of the players just zoom way out and see that? Or am I missing like a crucial piece? Because anyone could have done that. Like, I'm sure there's some player out there that plays in like turbo zoom out mode that could have seen the floating stuff. So you can only zoom it out that far if you're the owner? Okay. Thanks to Prime Will Cloud. Thank you for that, Moose. Sorry, I got so into the video, I didn't even see the 10. Thank you for the big 10. Yeah, we were learning about those earlier, Telefax. Okay.
That were actually legit, as placing wide in public view is not standard practice. People could see the wire churning away every time a user clicked the switch. No one would have suspected that there was a piece of wire up in the sky. But just in case, I put a present up there to obscure the view. Now,
I should just let it ride for one more second.
I could have made my giveaway completely legit. The way I set up the game meant the odds were in my favour to begin with. Statistically, over time, this was a profitable business venture. But this still didn't give me enough control of the game. I wanted to be able to control specifically what prizes I was going to be giving out.
Oh, so oh my god, I see.
Harder to obtain, there will still always be a chance that someone actually wins it. And that means you'll always have to be prepared to pay.
Thanks for the 5 gift subs, Alexa.
And I wasn't willing to do that.
Thanks for some
I decided to tell my story because I wanted to show that the ultra-consumerist environment, where your social standing is defined by the coins in your wallet, the furniture and rares in your possession, and your membership of a premium club, creates an extraordinary and insatiable demand for coins.
I appreciate it, Alexa.
Teenagers, being the perfect demographic to psychologically manipulate, they are the ones that are willing to do extraordinary things to get virtual currency. I personally ran my criminal enterprise with no nefarious intent to make real-life money. I just wanted furniture so I could furnish my rooms and make cool things, something that Habbo has decided to lock behind a paywall because it's their monetization model. But the environment that Habbo crafted led 15-year-old me to become obsessed with these virtual coins, and I ended up concocting a ridiculously over-the-top conspiracy to obtain it.
Yeah, it's genius.
I spent too long planning meticulously every detail, from monetization to how
he's like an anime villain
without getting caught, to how I would present myself as the real deal. What I did was not some large-scale hacking operation or setting up a phishing site, but at the end of the day, what I did was still wrong, even if it was comparatively minor, and it's something I genuinely regret doing, and something I've never done since.
Oh, you coward. Be proud of the scam. Though maybe like he scammed someone so hard that they like really got sad.
This is a simple truth.
Or formed a gambling addiction.
What Habbo has shown is that players will find new and innovative ways of defrauding others, no matter how the game progresses. However, the current industry of MMOs do not respect the rights of virtual property that people possess, despite the fact that they are materially worth something. Maybe this is for the better. After all, if every MMO had to legally reimburse victims of financial crime, they would be inundated with
Big Ranch,
including by those willing to exploit that very system. But maybe there should be a re-evaluation. Players spend real-life money on obtaining these virtual currencies and goods, and these items end up having lots of sentimental value attached to them. If we believe that virtual items should be afforded the same rights and protections as ordinary property, we should expect to reform the law, as opposed to waiting for the entrenched industry to regulate itself. As for Habbo more specifically, more needs to be urgently done. If Habbo insists that prevention is better than cure, it needs to make sure that its preventative measures are actually working. Hiring a bunch of volunteers to run occasional bus sessions is not enough. Penning a news article warning about phishing scams is also not enough, because at the end of the day, if people can still flagrantly host fake giveaways advertising dangerous external links, people are going to fall for it. There needs to be in-game moderation shutting down these blatant scams, and there needs to be a more concerted effort into rooting out these scammers. Having a visible and vigorous approach to tackling financial crime will go some way to deterring future attempts by enterprising players. As for my own story, I still have regrets. Some of the coins and furniture I have in my possession were illicitly gained.
Yeah, they were.
Them, though. But I decided that the only way to repent for my sins was to give it all away.
No! What?
I will admit, it was extremely difficult to do. I was attached to my coins and my furniture, which I've earned over the past few years. My Wired collection and my prized
he really felt bad.
Has sentimental value to me. But I decided to do it anyways, and there was no turning back. It was certainly gratifying, however, to make someone's day.
Thanks for some Maddox and
Anyways,
Belly.
thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.
This was such a fucking interesting rabbit hole. Oh my god. This was so good. Thanks for some KQP. Man. The only way to wind down after that is to watch some slapping.